We'll wait till records turns red. And, okay, started.
Recording started.
Yeah. So basically now, what we wanted, what I asked you all to do yesterday was the
Pyramid.
pyramid, right? How many people managed? Looks like
Uh, Actually, I tried, but one line is like not that individual square thing, but I tried with that we did a uh, cross line design, right? The first one.
hmm,
So I used the pointed parameter and translated to y-axis,
okay.
and I kind of joined somehow. I kind of joined 3 points with that center point, and I don't
Hmm.
know how to like drop the points and like connect the fourth, because basically it has like one common point. One common point was coming, and two lines were one upon the other.
Okay. So basically, you haven't been able to
Not
figure out how to
that was
drop
the
the
trial
points
and
of
error.
select the points that you really want. You haven't been able to figure out how to do that yet.
Yes, yes.
Jacob, send a photo. No, we'll understand
Oh,
what
I
you did.
deleted.
Okay.
That okay. What we'll do is we will probably go through this whole process here now. In any case, okay. And the drop. He's shared some of his images with me. So I kind of felt, and many of you all have actually shared your images with me. So the problem for me is it shouldn't be something that's just happened to have happened. You all should be
Yeah.
able to tell me exactly how it's happened.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so it shouldn't happen by chance.
No, no, we applied logic, but when we tried applying logic in the, like, as I sent you the image, I got the three sides of the line. Only
Hmm.
one side, I was applying the same logic, but I don't know, when I was connecting the strings, I was not getting the line. That's why
Yeah,
I
I mean,
sent
basically
you
that's going to
the.
happen a lot, in fact, till you get a hang of what exactly is happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think that should trouble you all too much, and it should not worry you all also.
Okay.
Okay, so get now. Let's see. Let's start with a set of points again. Okay, every class I seem to be starting with from scratch. I think that's okay, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So we just
Yes.
go with point dot by coordinates.
Yes.
I'll say 0 dot x.
Sir, but I remember that somewhere I had to use not longest lacing. I had to use
Cross,
cross product
yeah, that's to
for
create
that
the
point.
points itself. To
Yeah.
create the points, we need to do it with cross product.
Yes.
Actually, that's where the confusion happens, where we have to use cross product, where we have to use longest. There is a little confusion.
No, in most the cross product. So far we've only used it to create the list.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically we either use this thing or we use the good old point by coordinates block, and here we use cross product. Now, those of you who have been asking me every now and then, bringing up the replication guides, this is as good as this with cross product. So again, we get the sliders. We get 4 sliders. This again, we'll start with a small set of, here I'll start with at least 10 points and 20. So X is 10, Y is 20, and interval for now I'll keep them at 1 itself. To avoid what trouble I had last time, this 0.5. I'm just reducing the limits. So don't let this bother you. Okay, so we got a set of points, or if you want to increase these. Now,
So we'll do on z-axis, not y-axis.
what?
We will do on z-axis,
It
not
doesn't
y-axis.
make a difference, Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter Z or Y.
It now if see all I need to do this if I want to make this in z-axis,
Change the
that becomes
Yeah.
z.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so that's no big deal. Okay, but yes, sometimes it might be, but for now, it doesn't make a difference.
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to kind of while creating these points, I want to do something else. I mean, yesterday we had trouble about the number of divisions because we created points like this, right? Like now, say if it's a pyramid, I'm going to use a block, this block, and then this block. I'm going to be left out
We
with
will.
one column of points here. So it would always be good if I'm creating, if to create a pyramid, if I need two pyramids, okay, I know that I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. Make sense?
5 points. Yes.
Hmm? So
Yes.
if I need 3 pyramids, how many points do I need?
8,
I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7.
7.
7.
Okay.
Yes.
So now, do you think we can come up with some logic as to how many points we need for
Yes.
every
Yes.
pyramid? Like say, if it
So
is one
3,
pyramid, I know I need 3 points. If I need two pyramids, I need an additional 2 points.
3 into 2, no, 3 plus n.
yeah, for 2 pyramids, you need an additional 2 points.
Then for three
One.
pyramids, I need another 2 points.
Yeah, another additional 2 points.
Yeah. So basically, what's the logic? So if,
Plus
like,
2.
say, if this number, instead of this number slider being an integer, or let it continue being what it is, say, what will we do? If you want, like, 0, 0 dot dot from 0, I want to put the number of pyramids that I want. Okay, so the number of pyramids will always be number, that is n, into 2 plus 1,
Plus
correct?
2.
Plus 1.
No, I didn't
Y
understand.
into 2.
Hmm?
This is
Y into 2.
Like say if you need, I'm going to try this whiteboard. Now say if you need now say if you need three, this is one pyramid, second pyramid,
yes.
and third pyramid, right?
Yes.
So here I need 3 points. Now for this I need 5 points. I'm talking about total. From here to here is 5, right? And for this I need 7 points.
7.
Okay. This is 1. This is 2. This is 3. So what's the equation you can come up with? Isn't this
So x
uh,
plus 2 every time.
this is 3 into 2? I mean 7 is 3 into 2 plus 1, right?
3 into 2 plus 1. Yes.
This is 2 into 2 plus 1.
2 into 2 plus 1. Yes.
This is 1 into 2 plus 1.
Into 2 plus 1. Yes.
Hmm?
Yes.
Make sense?
So, sir, but why can't it be like a certain number as x plus 2? Anyways, 2 extra points are going to add for every pyramid. So why
Is that
can't
the case? Is that the case?
Hmm.
Hmm?
Hmm.
Now say if I want 3 pyramids,
Yeah, understood. Understood. Yes. Yes. Hmm.
we basically need 2 points for every additional pyramid, and we're going to add this 1 point in the beginning.
Hmm.
Okay, so that is why it is n into 2 plus 1. So the number
Hmm.
of pyramids is n into 2 plus 1.
Plus one. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, and then we'll put the interval, which is, I'll call it a here. So n now will end up being the number of pyramids. I mean in the x direction. I say
Hmm.
n or I say x here, which is the number of pyramids. So
Hmm.
I'll say nx maybe. So that should now be an integer slider because the number is going to be a fixed number.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
So when we do that,
So you're considering A as what? A is
A is the gap, the interval, the spacing.
okay. Hmm. 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 Okay. Yes. Yes.
He's asked me if you're stuck here already. Who has not understood this?
So basically, it is a kind of like creating a series of pyramids.
Yes. See, now basically when I say I need one pyramid,
Hmm.
it is saying I need these 3 points at 0, 2, and 4.
Hmm.
If I say I need 2 pyramids, I'm going to get 5 points.
Okay.
Okay. In a similar way, now I'm going to do this for this exact same thing we need to do for the other direction.
Hmm.
Okay. So I'll just copy this and just make this n by, and I'll make this b.
Hmm.
Okay. So now the number of pyramids in the y direction, this, and
Hmm.
number of the spacing will be this. Okay. So we've got these two things here. Okay.
Hmm.
Now what we can do here if you want, okay, I will get rid of these and we'll get back to the code block if you want.
Hmm.
And
X
I'll
and
put
Y.
this into X and I'll put this into Y. Now we've got a grid which says that this is, I'll say, I'll rename the node, I'll call it pyramid count. And I'll call this pyramid Y count. And we'll say this. Okay, now this also here, now I've just given a spacing for the points.
Yeah.
If you wanted to provide the width of each pyramid, what do you think we would have had to do? Now, say if I want to specify the width of the pyramid, right now, what is it specifying? That
That's
interval
the gap
here
between the points.
is, yeah, it's giving the space between these 2 points.
Hmm.
But let's say you're not bothered about that. You want
Hmm.
the entire pyramid spacing. I mean, the length of the pyramid.
A rectangular pyramid.
No, so if I'm going to make, not like that. If I'm going to say,
Grid point into 2.
yeah, no, I would probably instead, the logic is right, what you just said, Ekta.
Hmm.
But here, like say, I'll say pyramid x length. Okay, and I'll say this is pyramid y length.
Yeah.
Now, if this is the length, then this a has to be what? This a and b has to be changed to, because right now this is a.
Yeah, half of it. So it should be
Correct.
double.
So
So
basically, we
by
make,
two
need to
or
make,
into two.
Yeah, so divided by 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This should be B divided by 2.
So like that gap can be something incremental, right? Like
In the sense,
towards the end. Uh, what? How do I say? Like that gap will be like incremental towards the end or decreasing towards the end.
He means it will increase
Some
and
kind of,
decrease
yeah.
as the pyramid increases and decreases.
yeah,
He's
so now let's say
asking.
we want to make the pyramid wider in one direction. We do this, it becomes like this. If you want to increase it in the y direction also, you do this, it increases. So it
No,
becomes
I'm
completely
I'm
flexible.
saying that that in y direction now it's like increasing equally.
If we wanted to increase equally, we just make both A.
Yeah, no. In one direction, the gap between the points are increasing equally. So what I am
Correct.
saying is, how can it be like incrementally reducing towards one direction? Like,
Okay, that is different. That you'll have to use the concept that I used yesterday,
yeah,
where you
Yeah,
have to feed in
range.
a different
Yeah.
length of points itself.
yeah,
We'll
like
keep that for later, Deepak.
yeah, okay, yeah,
Okay, now we'll just keep it simple.
yeah,
Okay. If you want to increase the number of points, if you like right now, if you want to, okay, I'll introduce that right away. Uh, I'll do this with one set of points though. Uh,
No, I think we'll finish this first.
yeah, I
yeah.
think
And
we'll
then
finish this because that
we-
deviates and it actually can get a little more complicated.
hmm,
Okay, so we'll leave this for now. We'll stick to this for now,
hmm.
and I'll show you what you just asked in a different way a little later, maybe towards the end of the class, if this doesn't get a little too heavy. Okay, now right now we got x count saying this 2 and 2. Okay, so already we should have this should start giving you hints as to how you should be progressing. We've got a list of points which are this, but I'll make this a rectangular grid because only then it seems to make sense. Okay, so what's the first thing we want to do? Let's say we want to create a point, a line from here to here,
Yes.
here to here.
For that pyramid thing, each square will be separate, right? Each pyramid square will
Yes,
be separate.
yes. So basically, I hope there's a way to clear this at one shot. Doesn't seem like okay. So basically now we've got these points. Okay, so now the first thing we'll want to do is a point from, I mean, we want to create, say, 4 bounding lines, let's say. Okay, so this will be point 1 for that, and this will be point 2, point 3, point 4.
Hmm.
This is for the first thing. And then afterwards, for this group, we'll probably need, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hmm.
For this group, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this, it has, but we are not going to specify this what independently. We're going to try to get all of this at one shot, right?
Yes.
So how are we going to do that? So first, let's in this small grid, let's first get the start points of. Let's get this one first. Let's get one for everything.
Hmm.
So how will we do that? First, we know that one comes on this line,
Yeah.
and then one comes on this line,
Yeah.
on this
We need
column.
to take the both items like in a pattern for both sides.
Get the item at index at 0, comma 0 and 0, comma 1. So,
No. What we'll have to do is get nth
Take every
item.
nth item, no?
okay.
Take every nth item.
Yeah.
Okay, because you want this column, and then you want this column, and then whatever.
Hmm.
Hmm? So from this list, okay, by the way, just confirm that all the zeros are columns. I mean, everything, all the top level lists are columns. Okay. And what these will end up being the rows. So if I transpose, I will get the rows. That is, every first item of everything is the row. So if this is a list, now I want this column. Then which is the next column I want? I don't want 2. I don't want index 1. I want index 2. And then I want index 4.
4. Yeah.
And then 6.
Hmm.
Right? So what are we going to do? None of you managed to do this also?
What? Yeah, we
did
understood
this,
all.
but not
Yeah.
this way, in a different way.
Okay, fine. So first, let's see. First step is to get these columns. So offset 1.
Offset
Sorry, n should be 2,
2
and offset should
and
be 1, because we want to start from the first column itself.
hmm.
By default, offset is 0. Okay, so now we've got these, which is okay.
Hmm.
But these are not all the start points, right? Now we want only the start points. So now what do we want? From each of these lists, we now want only this point, and then what do we want? Next we want point
Third.
2, and then 4.
Yeah, 4. Hmm.
So basically we need to repeat this whole thing again. What we did here at the top level, we need to do this at the sublist level. So what do we need to do?
Take every nth item.
Correct. So all of this remains the same, but
Lacing.
Change the lacing.
lacing to longest. So now if you look at this,
Yeah.
still not clear, is it? You look at this now, we've got, these are all the start points, right? In fact, these are all the points that you need to
It is
get
the start and the end point, both.
correct. So basically, these are all the points that you need for this first part of the exercise. This is start, but only issue now is going to be how do you group them? So now from here, we take things forward. How are we going to do this? For example, first, this is the start point of each line, right?
Yes.
So these are the start points of each line. Not necessarily. This is the start point. Except for that last one, everything is the start point. These are all start points basically. These 3, and the last one is not the start point. So now we'll have to start working from this list. First, we need to drop this last thing because this is not the start point for any of them. So now you start using this list.
Can it be the other way also?
Sorry?
Can it be the other way also? Because like that center point of the pyramid, can it be the start point towards all the 4 points? Like all the 4 points can be the end point, kind of.
Yeah, but that will be only to get I think You still won't get it, Jacob, because it's not yet grouped. You've just
Okay.
got all the points.
Yes, yes.
Okay, it's not grouped as 4 and 4. When you
Hmm.
start grouping them, then you'll start repeating points for each grouping.
Hmm.
Right now, these are just unique points. All you know right now is that you're not looking at the rest of the points. You need to work with these points.
Hmm.
Effectively, this is actually as good as getting, if you had not created this list this way and had just given the spacing as something wider, this is what you'd have got.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is just like the start. This is just like your starting grid, basically.
Hmm.
Now you start working from this grid.
Hmm.
Start
We
manipulating
can,
this grid.
we can just say join the points, right? That will give the rectangle.
No.
No, because
No?
look at the
There is.
points. How are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Does this form a rectangle?
Yeah.
One, two,
No, no,
three.
no.
No, no.
That
One,
continuous
two, three,
lines will
four.
be formed, right?
Correct.
Mm.
So basically, these are you've just got a list of unique points. But when you start doing stuff, you will end up having a group of repetitive points. Like say for this rectangle, you will have 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hmm.
Okay. The next rectangle will also have these 2 points, these
Yeah.
two. And this rectangle will also have these points. So the list will start getting larger
Yeah.
when you start creating rectangles.
Hmm.
Okay. So first, let's start now. What we need to do is we need to create multiple groupings of 4 points each.
4 points each.
Here you got 4 points, but okay, I'll simply just so that we don't get confused. Let's make this. I'll make this 6, and I'll make this 5. See, now you've got a larger list. But what's our aim? We need to get lists of 4 points each, which represent the 4 corners of a rectangle.
Hmm.
Okay, let's start doing that. So first, to get this, we need to first get from this list, we need to get the first point of each of these lists, but we need to drop this last one because we don't want this last list because it doesn't have any start points. Okay,
Yeah. Hmm.
it's the same exercise that we've already done. It's just that this is coming up about one step later. So let's say get item at index.
Hmm.
Oh, sorry. First, we drop the last item.
Hmm.
-1. So then I've got these items. Now I'm going to get the first item of each of these. Oops. Get them.
So why did we did that list drop item now?
Because we wanted to drop this last column. Because there's
Because
no start point on this.
okay, okay, okay. Yes, yes, yes.
All the start points are on these, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So now we've got a list of 5 points. Okay, I've got this wrong. Something's wrong. Drop items, and then I want to get the. Oh, I need item at index 0. I'm still getting something wrong. 1 minute. What am I doing wrong? Oh, no, sorry. So basically, what's
We
the
need
logic
not
here?
drop the last item. Why are we
Correct. I just
dropping
need
it?
to now drop the last
Yeah.
item of each of these lists. So I need to drop item again. And tell me, Ekta.
I,
-1,
that,
correct?
yeah.
And then
Lacing
what?
to longest.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we got all of these, which are all the start points of each of your squares or rectangles or whatever. Okay. In the same way, we have to do this for each of your lists.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So now from here, what's the next step now? Now from this list, what do we do now?
Again, you have to drop for all the 4 points.
So we'll take this, all the 4 points. Now to get the second point, what do we do? We still need this drop item, which is
Yes.
the same as this.
Yes.
Okay, so I will not repeat it. Okay, but the second time round, what do we want to drop in these items? To get the second point, now these are the, which is the second point now? Second point is here, right?
Direction, yeah.
So we need to drop what now? These are the second points of every square.
Yes.
Are these the second points of any square? People,
No, they're the first point.
Yeah.
correct. Is there any two in any of these here?
No, it's just
No.
start and end point.
So you got only 1 and 4, right? Here. So
Yeah.
2 comes only here. So that means what do we need to drop? We need to drop the first or the last row.
You need to drop the first row.
Correct. Okay, so basically, but this grid is the same. So here what we're going to do is, now we're going to drop the last item, the first item.
Plus one.
That we do like this.
Vikram, one question. If we are doing this way, right, we will have an overlap of lines, right?
Yes.
So, is that useful? Like, if we have overlap of lines, I mean, or it's just one line.
Yes.
Okay. When we will
No.
changing the heights, it will be useful, right?
No.
Right?
Basically, when you're trying to create, now you're trying to create modules. So you will have to have an overlap of, that is, you're assuming you're going to have lines
Different-
connecting them.
Yeah.
Assume you're not going to, what if you're not going to have lines, but these points are your reference points?
Okay.
Okay, and say if you have a curve, then it's not overlapping.
Okay. Okay.
But in any case, you'll need that line as reference to draw your pyramid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So don't bother about the overlapping lines. Yes, you will have a lot of overlapping lines, but the lines will, the overlapping lines will kind of be related to a different object altogether.
No, my only question is because each pyramid is stuck to each other. There is no spacing between each pyramid. In the sense, we've made one pyramid and then we've given a gap and then another pyramid. If it's an overlapping, the same line can be used for the both pyramids. So why are we using a command where we will be having an intersecting of lines? Two repetitive lines.
Because you're not here, you're not bothered about the lines as such. You're worried about what the lines represent. So right now you're creating a line which is one edge of a pyramid.
Yeah.
Now, and by doing this, by what we are doing now is saying that this line belongs to this pyramid. That is, we're trying to say that a line that we draw here,
yeah, okay,
belongs to this pyramid.
And
a line that we draw here belongs to this pyramid. That is how we are grouping it now. Now it will be very difficult for you to try to say that, okay, I've drawn this line, now I've got to refer to this line while I'm drawing this pyramid. Okay, that gets very difficult.
Making a block of each pyramid.
Yes, so you create a group of whatever lines belong to a certain cluster.
Okay.
You don't bother about overlapping and all that. Don't think about it like an AutoCAD drawing where you're trying to avoid overlapping lines.
Yeah. Okay.
Here, this is not the objective. Here is not to create a drawing.
Mm-hmm. No, my question
Okay.
was this because we are working to find out the start point, end point, and then joining it. There is a simple way, like we already have the points. So if we just give a line command to join the points, we will get, but we won't get the overlapping lines. So that's why
No,
I asked.
Ekta. How will you even get? Which is exactly what we are trying to do now. How will you already looked at if you just simply say line command? Now, how are you going to
Start and end point. Yeah, okay, yeah,
who's
correct.
specifying the
Sorry.
start and end
Yeah.
points?
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
You need here basically you need to specify, which is exactly what we are doing now.
Yeah.
You are
Okay,
creating
sorry.
the logic and framework. When you do it at a small scale, work that logic out, and then you can scale it up.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. I understood. Got it.
Okay, so here now, anybody else has doubts, please make sure you'll keep clarifying it. Okay, no matter how stupid it might sound to y'all, or how, irrespective of what y'all think, whether it's stupid or not, please ask, because there are no stupid questions really.
But when you show the uh, both list of items separately, I have a confusion.
I'll switch this off also. This is this.
Hmm.
Start points are all these till here.
Okay.
End points are here, and all
Okay.
points are
Hmm. Yeah.
here.
Okay.
Hmm?
So the points in between which are hidden, we are going to use that as a middle point, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. That will only come into the picture when we start doing those middle points, because otherwise this we could have done easily here like this itself.
Hmm.
With
Hmm. Hmm.
this we could have easily got this grid
Yeah.
if we wanted to,
Yes. Yes.
and then we could have figured out the midpoint of that and all that. But why we did this is so that we always have the right number of modules.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
so this basically
Sir,
now
I'm
gives us
answering.
point
Sir,
one. This is point one. Yeah, somebody is saying something.
sir, one small doubt, sir. Like
Yes, ma'am.
one module pyramid you complete in one, two, three, four, whatever it is. Then
Hmm?
now you know the start point of every origin in the grid. So in the code block, if we enter some command so that the same module can generate from the start point. So we need not have to be doing. Is there any something like that?
Yes, which is what we had done, which I showed you in the first class. Now the which you can just
Yes,
translate basically. That is
yes.
like
One module you complete and say in code block from origin, this has to come means
correct,
it come in
which I
multiple.
showed you all, ma'am, in the first class, which is just to translate things. Which you
Okay.
just move this in X and Y direction, and it's done.
Yeah.
Now,
Okay.
when you do that, you have very limited control over creating geometry later and applying this logic
Okay.
to
Okay.
non-planar surfaces. Like say if you
Now,
want to
now
apply
this
this
is
pattern.
every individual we can manipulate the height, width, or whatever it is now. If we
Yes,
create
not
a
only the height, width, basically this can adapt to a curved surface.
okay, I got it. Hmm.
Okay, because otherwise, if you translate it, which is if you just move it in the X direction, Y direction, and things like that, it is
Okay.
it is
Same.
it mostly happens in a planar kind of in one plane.
Okay. I got it, sir.
Okay,
Hmm.
so by doing this, you have a lot. I mean, it works a lot better. Like what I showed you all yesterday. I mean, where you can just start moving things and playing with it. I mean, getting this curved forms also. You can do a lot more with this.
Yes, I got it, sir.
Okay.
Hmm. Okay.
The XY translation is simple. Don't
Okay.
that if you look at the first class or the second class, I think I showed you how to do that.
Yes, done, sir. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So now we've got the second point of this. Now to get the third point, what do we do? Third point is basically what we had done here.
You
Sorry.
need to take the preview.
I basically now for the third point comes in these columns. So that means I first need to drop the first column.
Yes.
Okay. So we go to drop items, and this time we drop the first column.
So third points come in the right side top on the top, right?
Correct.
Huh.
But it does. The third point doesn't come on the first column, right, Shalin? It comes.
Okay. No, so we can
After.
drop two items at the same time. We can't do
First,
that.
we will drop this first column itself.
Okay, okay.
Okay, which is what we are doing here.
Hmm.
First, we are dropping that entire column, so you get all the other columns.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it.
Is that highlighting kind of visible to you all, or is it too confusing?
Uh,
No,
no,
that preview is actually confusing. That's why.
Okay, what I'll do is every time I'm trying to highlight something, I'll just create a circle then. So these are the points that we are we've dropped this first column, and these are the points we are retaining.
Hmm.
Okay. Now what do we need to do? We need to
circles are the one we are retaining, right?
sorry?
Circles are the ones we are retaining.
No, circles. I'm just drawn them just to show you all which points.
Okay, okay, got it.
Okay. So this is just indicates this I'll keep moving it. The circles are not what, yeah, the circles are the ones we are retaining, correct. But not the circles as such. The circles are just shown to circle out the points that we are retaining. We are still working only with points, not with the circles.
Yeah, I meant the points, like the
Yeah,
highlights.
okay, fine. So now what's our next step? Next, we need to drop these, right? We need to drop the first item of each of these things. So here we will go again, go to this list, and we will drop the first item of each list. So now what do we get? Oops. Here I need to change the lacing to longest. So now we've got these points. So these are all our third points. Now to get our fourth points, what do? We need to do the same thing, same list, but this time we need to drop the last item again. Okay, so these are our point number 4. Done? So basically now what do we have? We have point 1, point 2, point 3, and point 4. And each of them are something like this. Now what we're going to do, we're going to put them all together in a list. I'll use that list create because some of you all were confused with this yesterday. And I will create 4 items. Create this, put these 4 into a list. Okay, so now we've got something like this. Then I will say, so what has this done? Basically, all start points is in one sublist. All second points are in one. All third points in one. All fourth points in one. But we want to kind of create groups of, instead of having this like this, we need to have multiple lists of just 4 items each. So first I'll say transpose.
Transpose.
And what does this transpose do? It kind of does something like this, where it still creates about 5 points, 6 points each in, but it's created 4 lists within that. Now when I say transpose again with lacing longest, this I'm not even trying to explain because I think it's something that you'll just have to understand intuitively.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we've got 4 points. Okay, now I'll just, let's say, Now, if I want to access only
So
this,
when you click on each list, like list 0, list 1.
here you get
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
So if you look at this, you got 0, 0, like that. Each of these, you've got your points, your grouping
Yes.
of points.
Hmm. Sir, so why did we get like 6? Oh, okay. The points were already there. That's why we got that 6 points on each.
What 6 points? I
First
didn't understand.
transpose.
Hmm.
No, we got like 6 points on each transpose, right? Like on each list, right? When we transpose for the first time.
Hmm.
0 to 5 we got.
That is because we had, that depends on what we put here.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so if I had put 50 here, I would have got 50 there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay,
Okay, okay.
so let's now what will happen if I say polycurve or something, if I add to this now? Polycurve by points. I click this to this. It's created these points, but you've got this thing open because we've not joined it. Connect first to last if you,
Hmm.
okay. So now what
Yes.
have we effectively got? We've got 4 lines for each block. Done so far?
Yes.
Okay, what's the next step? Yes, this is the base of the pyramid. What's the next step?
Center point.
Center points.
Center points. Now, if you just want to create the pyramid and not bother about the geometry, what's the, okay, first let's get the center points. Okay, so now to get the center points, where do we go?
We have the
Go to the
points
take
already
item,
previously.
every nth item.
No, but so where do we start with it? Do we go, can we get it from here?
Yes.
Yes,
How can we
Copy.
get it from here?
from the points.
How can we get it from here? Which list do we need to go to get the center points?
The list drop item.
No, we
No.
have to go to
No.
our original list
Okay.
Yeah.
because that's where we have the center points. After the,
Hmm.
in this list onwards, from here onwards, we got rid of the center points.
Yes.
Okay. So now we need to go back to this main list that we had. I will just switch off the preview of all of this. Okay, so now here we've got a list of all the points here. Now here, what do we need to do? Again, we need to do list, take every nth item, right?
Every nth item.
But this time, what do we do?
The center point should be above the level of the x-axis and the thing, right?
That is for late. That first you need to get the center point. Then you can decide
Yes.
No,
what to do with it.
here the point is already there, right? Center point.
Huh?
The grid point is there.
Yes, Ekta. Here, this whole exercise here is about what grouping points with a certain object.
Okay.
Everything exists here. The whole exercise is about building relationships.
Okay.
Okay, you will have everything. Like now, say you might have, uh, let's say you've got lots of reinforcement. I mean, lots of steel. Okay, but you have to tie it in a certain pattern, right? I mean, when you're doing it, when you're using the steel and when you're creating your RCC slab and things like that, you pick out certain pieces and you put them in certain places, right? So
Yes.
basically, just having the raw material is not enough. The exercise here, I mean, your entire effort is actually here in creating the relationships between different things.
Okay.
The points are just your raw materials. They might be lying in a certain position, but you'll have to kind of instruct your system to go to that position and pick that particular line or point or whatever.
Yes. Okay.
I still haven't made sense, I'm sure, to you.
No, I got it.
Hmm?
Got it.
No, because you asked this for the second time.
No, I got it. I was thinking we will raise the point at the level and then group it. So I was asking why are we working on the
Okay.
same level?
Now,
That
to
was
go
my
with
logic.
your logic, how will we raise this point?
Because it is along the x and y.
No. First of all, how will I raise the point? Now, how do I know which points I want to raise? See, because
Okay.
right now in this, it's all the points that I've got. Okay.
Yes.
Now I need to identify only the center points.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah,
So
correct.
first we need to identify that and isolate that, which is what we are going to start doing now.
Yeah,
Just
so
as
that's why we are grouping it. Yeah, okay.
Yes, just as we kind of isolated and identified each of the start points in this exercise here,
Yeah,
in this
got it.
workflow.
Yeah.
In the same way, now we are going to try to isolate only the center point from this whole. Like you just assume that you've got, say, a number of beads, about say 10 beads, and out of that, say about 5 of them are red. Now you are just picking out those red beads.
Yes.
Okay, so now just assume that these center points are your red beads and the rest of them were something else. But you need to kind of now pick out each of them.
Yes.
Fortunately for you, here these are not beads in a plate which are kind of just random. It's in some kind of a structure. Okay, so it's going to be a little easier than just some random arrangement where you're going to try to identify stuff. That might also happen in future. But right now you've got a structured kind of grid. And from that grid, from those points that you got, you kind of picking out things that that serves your purpose,
Yes.
and eliminating the rest. For now, we're going to try to get only the center points.
Yes, got it.
Please continue asking questions, even if my tone seems like frustrating or something like that, because I think Ekta just got scared.
Yeah, I got scared of you.
I know. Please continue asking questions.
Yeah.
She's scared.
She's scared. Okay, now what do we do here? Now, which item do we need to drop? How do we start taking? Here we dropped. We still need to get every second item. So n will continue to be 2. But offset here can remain 0, which is the default. Okay, so these are all of these columns now contain your center point. Let's use that circle again. Okay, so these are all the points that we seem to have isolated. Now from this we need to further isolate some more, right?
Yes.
How many steps to go now?
You need to drop every nth item.
Correct. So how many more steps before we can get our center points?
So
1.
Correct. You just got one step left, which is, again, what do we do?
take every nth item.
Take every nth item from here. And what should this drop be? No, offset can be remain thing, and this is done. Okay. So basically this should have got us our lacing should be
Longest.
now what do you think we would have got? We've got our center points, right?
So can you show the preview before lacing? Before the longest lacing. Okay. Yes.
What did this do?
Yeah.
This basically
Every
dropped.
second, yeah. And the lacing change into every sublist.
Yeah, it basically has taken every alternate row, basically.
Yeah.
Every alternate column. But when we went to if you change the lacing to longest,
Yes, it
it
went to
basically
submit.
takes every alternate column this way.
Hmm.
Hmm? So
Yeah.
now we've got all the center points.
Hmm.
Now let's humor Ekta simply because I scared her earlier. Ekta madam, now let's raise the point. How much do you want to raise this to? By?
10.
Yeah, 10.
Okay, now
Oh,
how will you raise
four
this?
I
Because
think
now
four.
you've identified the point. Now you can raise it.
Yeah, change the the axis of it to Z.
Change the
Translate.
axis of it. No.
No? Okay. Offset?
I mean,
Translate.
translate. That's the
Okay.
term I was looking for. Even if you
Okay.
all meant the same, please try to start relating to those terms because only then you'll find the right nodes. Translate is what you need to use.
Sir, but one doubt.
Hmm.
Like even let's suppose we made the pyramid, like we move the center points towards some point, and the pyramid
Hmm.
is made already, and the lines are connected to the center points. And if we translate that center point geometry towards further, that line will move accordingly.
Yes. Okay. Fine. So let's do it a little differently then. I mean,
Because
Ekta
I did
will
something
get
similar
back
like
to it.
this, but that lines didn't move actually. Only the points were moving.
No, you have done something wrong. Let's do it right now. Let's say now, I'll say, let's continue with Ekta's thing. I'll say geometry. What should the direction be?
Z.
So vector dot
Z axis.
Z
Z.
axis.
dot their axis. Okay, so this will be our direction. And distance, for now, I'll create a slider. I'll say number slider. And we'll make this 5. I'll make this, or no, maximum can be, say, 10, let's say. Okay, right now I'll start with 0 distance. Because the distance is 0, it's not moved up at all. Now, if I move this up, it starts moving up.
Yeah.
Okay, now, Jacob, your question was that the points moved, but the lines didn't move, right? Now, you can
Yes.
say the same thing about the circles not moving. Points moved, circles didn't move. Why didn't the circles move? Because I had not tied up the points to
Yeah,
the
that
circle to that
point, that
geometry.
lines were not tied up to that point that time.
Yes. So now if I move, now I've associated the circle with the points. If I move this, the circles will also move.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, so that is critical. So now I've kept this at 0, so it's still flat. So it's actually done nothing here. Now what do we
Yeah.
do? I mean, first thing that we can do is say line by start point, end point.
Hmm.
Okay, start point can be this, and end point can be each of these points.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see how it's created this. Now what do we do? I mean, say if you kind of move this,
Hmm.
we've got this pyramids that we were talking about with one circle also on the top as a crown.
Hmm.
Done. So this is like part 1 of the exercise that I told you guys to kind of do.
The reverse process of the part one, maybe.
Reverse processor.
No, like we did that cross
Fine.
connection, right? That can be done also like this.
Yes, I mean basically, but there is a problem. Yes, this is what I was referring to as the 2D version. Correct,
Yeah.
Savita. Okay, why was I referring to this as the 2D version? Because this is just a framework.
Yeah.
It is not from this I can't automatically create 3D geometry.
Yeah.
Okay, because I've not really created anything, some kind of an association. To create 3D geometry, I'll have to kind of get each of these faces.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Got it? Even though we got the whole framework,
Hmm.
we kind of are going to struggle to create the 3D geometry. But there is a way, even with this. For example, let's just try. Okay, now here we've got 4 lines each for each of these.
Yes.
Okay, and each of these 4 lines basically thing what connect to these each pyramid has four lines.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I mean surface create, but what option? Maybe we can try with a loft. Sometimes this may
So
not work
loft
simply with
will like
Loft is to join to, like it
two
creates
curves.
it
two curve.
creates
Yeah.
like everything together, right?
Correct. This may or may not work because we've got one common point. It sometimes may create a problem,
Hmm.
but there is also a chance that it will work. It has worked, but not exactly the way we wanted because it's kind of created a curve.
Yeah.
Okay, but that also we could probably try to remedy.
Sir, can you switch off the
So like how do we connect like
lines
each
preview?
triangle face, like with the base point?
Sorry, two of you are speaking. I don't get what.
I just said, can you remove the lines preview to see if the surface is sharp or is it, curvy?
No, if I remove the lines, no, Shannon, you won't see much. Okay, but this is what it's kind of created right now.
Okay.
Okay, there's also one more issue with that's happened, but this also can be easily resolved. It's created only on three sides. It's not created on the
Yeah.
fourth side.
Hmm.
Why do you think that has happened?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Okay, because we are given one, two, three, and four lines. Loft goes from one line to the other, one line to the other, one line to the other. So
Hmm.
basically, what we'll have to do is repeat this last line again in that list.
Yeah.
Did I make sense?
No.
Basically, right
Or
now
like
we've got this is for the first line. I mean, okay, not able to highlight the line, but this is the first line, second line, third line, and fourth line. So basically, it's created. Oops. We got one, two, three, and four. What has the loft done? We've specified four lines. Okay, so it's first created a
so
bridge
it
between
will
these
it has
two.
gone like anti-clockwise.
It's not a
No, it's
loop.
gone clockwise, but it's taken these two first. Then it's taken these two,
Yeah. Ah.
and then it's taken these two, and that's it. That's the end of its job.
Hmm.
It doesn't know that it has to close this.
Okay.
Okay, so to do that, what do we need to do? We need to add this line again to the end of this list. Let's not bother about that. Or should I do that for you?
So my doubt is like
Hmm.
for that base square, what we did a kind of grouping for every pyramid.
Hmm.
Like that, can we group the entire four faces and the base together so that we can create the face for individual module?
Yes, we can, which is what I want to try to do now for you, so that it's. But that's the next step. This is just to show that with this also we can do something. There are multiple ways to do things.
Hmm.
Okay, so let's do. First, what I'll do is I'll just see if I can just loft again by the cross sections and guide curve, which I'll say this is the guide curve, and let's see what happens. Now it's created.
Now all four sides are created.
No,
Yeah, but it's
this
done something else. Basically, loft is not the right thing, but yeah, it seems to be uh,
But it
creating
looks,
something.
beautiful.
it's
It's not
like,
what I intended, so I'm not going to appreciate what is.
it's continuous. Like the
Yes, it will
surface.
not be continuous if I remove this. Now
Huh.
this is more thing, but it's still not accurate. Okay, so what's the right way to do it? The right way to do this is to actually get three sides of the triangle and patch it.
Hmm.
Okay, so now how shall we do this? I'm going to get rid of all this.
Yes.
Now we got this point here.
Yes.
Now, what do we need to do? I mean, basically, this can be a little irritating, and I might have, before I get it right, I might kind of struggle a bit. Now, what we need to do is to each of these, not this, where do I got it? Okay, to each of these, where we got 4 points, I'll do this like I'll split this. Okay, I'll just take only this one list and show you all what needs to be done first, because now it's going to get a little complicated. Okay, so I'm just taking, if I take A0, what will I get? I get this list. Now from this I want only this, so I'll say A0, 0. Now I've got only these 4 points. Now what do I want to do with these 4 points? I want to create a grouping of points such that I get every 2 points within this, because I need to get groupings of 2 points to create the base of each triangle of the pyramid. Making sense?
I didn't understand.
Sorry?
I didn't understand.
Okay. So basically now I've got 4 points. Wait one minute, let me just skip. So we got, oh, I get a grid also. Oh, nice. How do I get a grid permanently? No point. Okay. Into table format bug. Okay, nice. Okay, so now here say we got we got 4 points. Now in these that's the list of 4 points that we've got, and we've got one more point in the middle. Okay, but that point we've not yet got in that list, but we've got that point somewhere. Now what do we want? We want a group of these 3 points. Then we want a group of these 3 points. Then we want a group of these 3 points, and then we want a group of these 3 points. Right?
Yes.
So do you see that from those 4 points, we're going to get groupings of, we need 2, 2, 2, 2, and then add this one common point to each of them?
Yes.
So basically, so we need to split this point group of 4 points into 4 groups of 2 points each.
4 groups of 2 points and add the middle point.
And then add this point to that to get the triangle. There may be easier ways to do this, okay? This is probably a heavy way to do it, but let's just do it.
Yes.
So now I'm looking at this with only this one list.
Okay.
So we've got only this, and I'm trying to do that. Okay, so now how do we do that? First, I can see that I need to add this point again to the end, because I need to repeat these points. Okay, so I'll use something called add item to end. Okay, and now which item do I want to add to end? That is the first item I want to repeat. I'll say first item. I'll say item, and I'll say this is a list. So what does this do? This now creates 5 points with this point coming again at the back.
No, which point you added towards the end?
Okay, what did I do? One minute, Jacob. I'll try to explain. Now, basically, let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, these are the 4 points. Now, the first grouping that I want is 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Second is 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Next is 3 and 4.
3 and 4.
Next is
4 and 1.
4 and 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in order to achieve this, since the
Sir,
yeah.
Okay,
isn't
so
it
you are
one
duplicating that first point once more to like.
Sorry, yes. So I'm adding the first point to the end of the list so that I can
Yeah,
create
towards
this grouping.
yes. Understood.
Yeah, Shannon, what was your doubt?
aren't we taking the first, second, and the midpoint first, and then second and third, and the midpoint?
Midpoint comes later, Shannon. Right now, what I want to do is create groupings of, as I showed you here.
Oh,
Here, I want to first, this one is common to all of them.
okay,
At this
so
point. So now first I want to just get 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, and 4, 1.
okay, got it.
Okay. So now how do I do that? Now we basically are going to repeat stuff here, right? I mean, now we need to, so here if I look at it, I need 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 3, 4. Okay. So there is something called a sublist. So I take this range into this list into this. Range, I'll say 0 dot dot 1. That means I want to go from 0 to 1 and it will keep offset is we leave it as it is. Say offset to 1. Now what this does is it creates with repeating points, it creates points.
Sir, can you show the fourth list? Yeah.
Which is the fourth list?
On sublist.
The last list becomes only 1 point, so we'll have to drop that point. Because what it's trying to do is it takes the last list and tries to create one more. Okay, so after this we say drop items and say -1.
Okay.
So this is the process to get these groupings of points. And then what do we do? To this list, we add, again say add item to front or end or something, anything doesn't matter. And we'll say list. And from this list here, I will take that first point. Here I will take, this is only, I'm just showing you how to do it for one. We'll have to do everything at one shot, okay? I'll show you how to do that also. So this is at one point, which is one vertex.
So this, okay, the code block was basically doing what? That
the code block is basically like when I say A0, it gets me this one item.
Okay, the first 0 list.
First list, yeah. And when I say A00,
it goes to the sublist level and take the first.
Sublist level, it gives me the next one.
Okay.
So for this thing that we've been working with, that is the item that we are looking at, right? So we go here, and here we say add item to end. What we wanted to do actually is add that item to every item here. Right now it will not do that because it's not understood that. It's just added this item to the end of this list. So here we need to go and fiddle with, we can either just say, in this case we can just say longest. and it'll add item to each of these.
Each of
Okay,
these.
but
Yes.
when we want to do this to everything, all the list together, it's gonna be complex because we'll have to play with levels. Okay, let's do that now. Or is this getting too much for you all?
No, we will continue.
We just finish this so that you guys can try to practice this over the weekend,
Yes.
because I might not get it right in the first shot in any case.
No, no, we can continue.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Continue.
Okay, fine. So what we need to do is what I showed you here, this entire workflow, we will have to now do it up here. This one, if you see, now we've done this. If I now say create a poly curve, I've done this for only one block, remember. Okay, now when I say this, you see how it's created this one pyramid.
Mm.
Now each of the, here what it would have done is, if I say true, you will find 4 polycurves. That means it's created 4 triangles.
4 triangles.
And now I can say something called patch.
Mm.
And now when I say patch, it creates a proper pyramid.
Yes.
Okay. Patch basically it just creates a surface that spans each of those curves.
Okay.
Now you will have 4 curves. Done?
Yes. Sir, so now this is a 4 different faces now.
Four
How do
different
we like,
surfaces.
yeah. So like if we want to like create an opening on one side.
That's a separate thing. That we can, like, for example, now forget about opening. Let's say you can. I mean, now say on one of these surfaces. Okay, this will be. I'll get to that later, Jacob.
Yes, yes, yes,
Or
yes.
I'll quickly just show you. What you need to do here is look for point at parameter
Hmm.
on a surface. Okay. Now on this surface, I want to create. I'll just create a point for you. Okay. And
Hmm.
I say I want a point at 0.5. 0.5 is this midpoint, right? For a
Hmm.
thing, for a line. It's the same for a surface also. Basically,
Hmm.
this is how I get this. I get to this point on the surface. Now
Yeah.
at this point, I can create an opening and I can create a solid. I can create something else. I can do a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So that's a different. We'll get to that later.
Hmm.
Okay. For now, let's see if we can create this. But this is how you can create complex geometry. When you create these modules, can become a lot more complex. Right now, we are just creating one simple pyramid simply. But you can get to these to this level, like how we've done here. We managed to access each point of these by just this one node like that. If you have multiple pyramids, you'll be able to access. You'll be able to manipulate each of those spaces together and manipulate them differently if you want to. But you'll just be increasing levels of complexity. In fact, now itself it's going to get quite complex. I'm going to cut this out and be prepared for a lot of goof ups. So if you're kind of looking at this video until now, I think it's been kind of stable. I've not messed up too much. From now, there's a high likelihood of me going back and forth. Okay. So whatever time it is, note that time. Okay. So now we're going to do this whatever workflow we did here. Let me recap what we did. We kind of added the first point to the end.
First one towards the end,
Then we created groups of sublists.
sublist for each face.
Yes, that means we grouped every two.
Hmm.
And then we kind of dropped that last sublist because the last sublist had just one item.
Hmm.
And then we added the peak of the pyramid to each
Yeah.
of these lists. Okay. And then we created a polycurve by joining those curves together and things like that. So now we want to do this. This we've done now for just one pyramid. We need to
Yes.
do this for the entire set at one shot. Okay, so basically all this 0, 0, 0, 1 and all that I got is something that is not the right way to do. And if you want to do it like this, it's no big deal. I mean, this way you can sit and create 100 pyramids one at a time if you want. And okay, Manjula ma'am, if you were doing that translate approach, we could have easily done just this and then translated it any number of times. And for this kind of geometry, doable. But now if you need to adapt this geometry to some other plane, then we need to go with the approach that I'm showing you all now.
Okay, sir, I understood. Okay.
Okay. So don't, even though it seems like we could have done this in another way, I mean, there is a lot more application to this than what we're seeing right now.
Okay.
I'm going to hide all this. And I'm going to make this 0. Okay, first step now in this, we see all these lists and multiple lists, right? For now, I mean, again, this step itself is something that I would discourage usually, but here I am going to try to simplify this a little bit and reduce this grouping and just get only one list of 4 items each. I mean, instead of having this additional layer, instead of L1, L2, L3, and L4, I'll reduce those levels a little bit by using something called flatten. Now this has messed it up completely, right? This is a problem. But now I'll say flatten amount 1. Now what I've got is I've just got, say, about 30 lists with 4 items each. Now it is much easier to work with. Similarly, what I will do is I will flatten this thing. I'll flatten this completely though. So I've got 130 items here. Okay. These are all the vertices, I mean the peaks of the center points of each of these points. Now what did we do? For each of these, we added the first point of each of these lists to the end of each of these lists. So what do I need to do first is I get the first item. So what do? I need to get the first item of each of these lists. So lacing will go to longest. Okay, so now I've got a list of 30 first items. Now what do I want to do? I want to add item to end. So I want to add this item to the end of each of these. So here now from each list having four items, I should have each list having 5 items. But here I'm not going to get that. Why? Because I will just get all of these at the end here. So here I need to go and start doing something like this. No, I'm not getting it right. Sorry. So here we start playing with these levels and things there. Here now I've got 5 items in each list with the 5th item being the same as the first item. Now what do we need to do? We need to do that sublist thing. We want to create within each, we need to create groups of two each. So again I go there, go here. again, I'm going to say 0 dot dot 1. And offset was 1. Feed this into this, feed this into this. This will not work. I need to operate at every sublist level. So basically, I need to change lacing to longest. Oops. Why have I messed this up? Something's wrong. Okay. Here also, I think since we got these multiple levels, I'll need to figure out something here. So here I need to go to list, say level 2, 1. I'm not getting this right.
So why is it appearing null?
Okay. Huh?
Why is it null? Like when you changed it to list one.
What? Why is it null? Is it
Yeah,
in the sense?
like when you were changing the list into L1, it became null. That's
No, that
even
is because it's not right. I mean, even now I've not got it right.
okay. No, because there are some points in either y-axis or z-axis, right? So how is it null?
Because the combination was wrong, Shannon. There are some issues with the way you combine things with this levels and things like the way it works.
Okay.
See, sometimes here I'm not thinking this through properly, but you can just kind of by trial and error sometimes this comes through. But if
Hmm.
you apply once you kind of work with this continuously, you'll get an understanding of how it works. And I usually do this in a code block. That works better for me than in this in the nodes. But you can do it with nodes and start with. It may be a good idea to do these things with the nodes.
So you can show us in the code block also. We are kind of used to
No,
that
no, no. I'm sure it will be a lot
difficult.
worse.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's see. Yeah.
No, what I was saying is let us get thorough with that one single pyramid, then we will go to that
No, no, no,
multiple.
no, 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 no. That one single pyramid is easy, Jacob. Believe me,
Yeah.
that you won't have any trouble with in future. For the week, if you want a weekend exercise, I think you need to do this
Yes, yes.
and try to
Sure.
understand this. Okay, so now basically here, this is where I've now managed to do that whole thing with this. Now here again, I need to drop the last item of each of these lists.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'll say drop items.
So basically, if the list count is like kind of even, it is easier to handle.
That's got nothing to do with list count
No,
because we
that
handle the list count issue here itself.
yeah.
So there's no issue. We will not have any problems with the list count because we've managed all the calculations in the beginning.
Hmm.
Okay. So now here, basically now what we need to do is we need to drop this last item of in each list. Spacing should be longest. So basically now what you would have got is you would have got groupings of 2 points each, which is of each list. If you look at it here, 0, 1, 1, 2. Okay. Now what do we need to do? Now we need to add that first point that we had, I mean the center points to each of these lists. So let's say add to front. Again, I need to add this one, this item to each of these lists. Again, I'll be creating some trouble here because again, I think I need item has to be L1 if I'm not wrong, and this has to be L2 mostly. Yeah. Okay, so here what we can do here is a keep list structure. So now here we've got, for each of these we got, no, I think I've messed up. Now here we got 0, 0, 0. I need to add this thing longest. I seem to be messing up again.
So you don't need to flatten it like I'm saying in generally you don't need to flatten it. You can just change the levels, right? It'll automatically flatten.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Instead of flattening a list when you want to, you can just change the levels, right?
No, flatten basically destroys the list structure, which we need in some cases.
Yeah, so here also when sometimes there's no list structure, it comes continuously.
Here we've got no list structure because we flattened it.
Okay.
Sir, while like you creating that levels, you check that that creep list structure. What does it do? That keep list structure.
It basically, you see this list structure, 0 has all this, 1 has all
Hmm.
this left. Basically, if I don't keep the list structure, it kind of flattens it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like if you put L2, L2, L1, L1, it's already flattening it. So why use another node?
No, that is only if you're using L1, L2. Only then it sometimes flattens it, not always.
Okay.
No, this one is right, right? What
This is
we
not
have
right.
done, we need
This
to
is
add
not
the
right.
third point.
Here, the first 3 points have to get, the first item has to be the same for all 3. Basically, we've got 30 items here, right? So this
Yeah.
110 has to come for all 3 of these. So the first item for the first 4 pairs has to be 1. Got it?
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
basically, I need to get this item for the first
Every
4.
first.
What am I doing wrong? I'm not getting you. I'm goofing up big time. Okay, I don't know why I'm not getting it. Just a minute. Let me just restart this. This dot add item to front. This needs to be the first item. And then I need to add this to each of these. So this is at level 4 and that is at level 2.
Now what we are trying to do is like to create that 3-point group, right?
Yes.
For every pyramid together.
Sorry?
That 3 points group we are trying to make right now.
Yes. I'm messing it up somewhere. I'm not getting where I'm messing it up.
So are we like trying to do this like for every 4 faces together or towards only one direction we are trying to make that grouping?
All four at once.
Okay.
I'm almost getting it, but I'm not getting it. Okay, I think I got it. No, I haven't. Okay, for some reason I'm not getting this. Let me just try this. Okay, this is how it should be. I for some reason I'm able to do this far easier with a code block than with the nodes. I'm not able to figure that out there. But in a code block, this kind of thing has got us that first point of for each of these lists and done. Okay, so now I'll see if I can figure this out with a node also. But with a code block, this is how it works. And then you can create a polycurve by points. Where is that? Okay, and then here we say this connect last to first is true. Okay, so we got these four polycurves each, and then we kind of will say surface by patch.
Sir, can you click on that first item on 0?
This one?
Yeah.
And I'll do that here.
Okay. Yes, yes.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4. So here now basically if we go here and increase this height now, I'll call this height. You see how we get our pyramids? So this thing basically now, if this whole structure, this entire thing is now dependent on this. So basically whatever you change here, this entire thing will just adapt to that.
Yes.
Okay, so the proportions you can change, you can do a lot of things. As long as it makes sense. Okay? Done?
Yes. Yes.
I just have to figure out that node. Let me see if I can figure it out. But as I mean, you can see why I prefer code blocks because it's a lot more intuitive to me at least. I'll see if I can figure out how to do this with nodes. Okay, and I'll post the file once I figure it out.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Shall we wrap this up for today?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the exercise we all know? What will you all do?
Same thing.
I
Same
think we
thing.
need to learn this.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. No, I'll have to give you some variation at least so that you'll know that you'll have actually managed to do this. What do you think you can do?
we'll change the geometry translate. Like,
No, we need something else. I mean, something. I mean, any idea as to how do you think we can kind of come up with something?
uh,
What variation do you think you can come up with?
You told us to create a small rectangle on top and work out with that. Maybe we can.
Chop the tip.
Yeah.
Chop
Same
the
thing.
tip.
Another
Okay.
small rectangle and then use loft or something to.
Yes, I think chop the tip. I think it'll be a little difficult, but yes, I mean, let's see if you can.
so you need to flatten that top portion. Like, oh god, that's
No, I no. Okay, I think that's a little too much. I don't think that makes that's not fair. Um,
We use a different shape to do the same thing.
Let it not
no,
be easy.
different shape is way too complicated. Take that.
Okay.
no. We'll
Stick
do
with
some.
the rectangular grid for now because any other grid, the hexagonal grid and all that gets a lot more complicated.
Okay.
Okay. So,
First, you guys try to figure out the rectangular grid. Give
This
me
is
some
very
suggestion.
complicated.
uh,
Some suggestion based on this. I mean, as to what do
so
you think? Some
what
variation.
can we like create a no? I was thinking of kind of like instead of that straight line to connect that top portion of the pyramid, why can't we use a curve or something to change?
You can, but I think that will again be trouble.
No,
Maybe
no,
we
give us
can
something simple.
Pentagon and all is difficult, man.
It's saying pentagon.
No,
maybe
because
we can
Pentagon is difficult. Don't.
no, give us something simple because this is only difficult. We
maybe
should
we
try
can
this.
mirror the whole thing down, like you know, so the points will change, and at the same time we're learning the exercise.
Okay, no, let's do one thing. I mean, I think somewhere in this video I've shown you all how to create a point at each on each. I mean, when I showed you how to create that, when Jacob asked how to create a hole,
Yeah.
I showed you how to create a point on each face, right?
Hmm.
Yes.
It's
Huh.
there in the video in any case.
Yeah.
Now let's just take that point a little further and see if you all can create a circle on each face.
Each face. Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's just an extension of this entire process.
Yeah.
Can
We'll
you
try.
sketch it out? I'm not able to visualize it.
Now, if you got, if this is your pyramid,
Hmm.
okay, two sides of the pyramid in view, create two circles on every face. I mean, create a
Okay.
circle basically at the
One
center of every
circle.
face.
Okay.
Yeah,
You okay? Got
Yes.
it.
Yes.
this is
Yes.
not a
But
major. This is not going to be very difficult for you all because I will just actually look at what I shown you all. But there will be one or two concepts that you need to figure out. See if you can figure it out.
yes.
Okay, we'll try.
Okay, but
We'll
try
try.
this and see if you can understand this. Understanding is more important than doing this. I didn't want to do
So
so much this
how
semester for
will
you all. I
we?
wanted to actually see if you all could do a lot of things yourselves.
This is a
Yeah.
little complicated. What you
This
explained
it
today.
has to be complicated. Actually, I don't see how it this is this can only get even more complicated, Ekta. But if you figure out how to do it, if you understand the logic, you will realize that it is as I said in a few classes back. It is only one bit of that lacing bit and those levels. If you understand, it just you just have to apply that at multiple levels. That's all. That is what is the complexity here. But you need to understand the lacing and levels to some extent.
Mm.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay.
one request.
Hmm.
before posting this file, can you like kind of group uh, the nodes, because like sometimes it creates confusion. Like
Okay, fine.
yeah,
I'll see if I can figure out what to
yeah.
do. Hmm?
Can you create pyramid with four different triangles? Can that be possible?
Voice not clear, Nagraja.
Can we have pyramid with four different triangles? Right now we have four similar triangles, right?
Can you just repeat yourself?
Right now we have four similar triangles, same triangles in the pyramid.
Ah.
So the assignment, can we have like four different triangles, the tip point being variable?
Okay, fine. Not a bad idea. Can you do one thing? I mean, can you move that midpoint? Whatever
Yeah,
Nagraj has
I
just
can remove
asked,
the midpoint. Yes, yes.
whatever Nagraj has just asked, instead of it being the center point,
We'll try moving that midpoint, that top point.
yeah, you can. I mean, Nagraj, in fact, it's not. It won't be very difficult at all. It's based on what I showed you all yesterday.
We'll
Yes,
try.
we'll try.
In fact, if you want to try to, based on what you just said, if you want to, and if you all can recollect how I showed you all how to move each point by a different distance, you can even try to do that.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes,
Okay, so see if you all want to play with it, but first try to understand the logic.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay, fine. I'll see how I can group this as much as possible, and I'll post these files.
Okay.
yes, yes,
Okay,
sir.
Thank you.
fine. Okay, so I'll see you all on Monday, right?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
Bye.
Okay, bye bye. Have a nice weekend.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bye.